Welcome back, Bounty Hunters, to another episode of the solo RPG Notorious and my playthrough of this game with custom content. We are continuing and hopefully finishing the exploits of Draven in his pursuit of Myrix Venomtail on the planet Velos, which is a custom planet. Without belaboring the point, let's get back into the hunt. We are now moving on to encounter number 7 here, to ensure that we catch Myrix Venomtail at some point down the line here. There is one bit of housekeeping I completely forgot about, and that is when we encounter a local or a hostile, we're actually supposed to roll on the table here for the species, the predominant species. So they are supposed to be one of the 3 for this particular planet. Alright, let us continue with exploration number 7 to see where we go. Hopefully we encounter a lead. Ah, look at that, we do, actually. If your notoriety is 3 or higher, you encounter a lead. Otherwise, roll once on the exploration table. Well, we actually encounter a lead, which is fantastic at 4 notoriety. So let's go ahead and get all that information together. Okay, so for our set and setting here, we will go and find them at this location, and with this setting. You feel drawn to them in the ruins of a mystic temple full of whispers and strange symbols. The temperature is rapidly becoming dangerously high or freezing cold. So we will now figure out who this lead is. Alright, now to find our species for our lead. This is someone that's working with Myrix Venomtail, so we don't have to roll on the predominant species. And then we have a Talok, a reptilian. And now for the Talok's name. Nyx Venom Spire, and then finally for their personality. Skittish, nervous, or tense. Let's go with skittish. A skittish reptilian by the name of Nyx Venom Spire. We find them in a mystic temple, and the temperature is either rapidly increasing or rapidly freezing. Freezing could be interesting for a reptilian species, especially if they are innately cold-blooded. And I also forgot to figure out what kind of lead they are. Nyx Venom Spire is desperate for money and was hired by the target. Roll for their faction 1 to 6. 1 to 2 challenging, 3 to 6 minor. And then resolve all. What job were they hired to do, and why did they need the fast credits? 2, speak with them. Then 3, they attack you. 2 stars and 1 heart. So let's see, what are they, challenging or minor? 4, so they're part of the minor faction. Alright, let's figure out all the rest of this information here. Nyx Venom Spire was hired by Myrix Venomtail to retrieve a valuable artifact known as the Frost Crystal, hidden within the ancient mystic temple. They needed the fast credits to fulfill a personal obligation and settle a long-standing debt. The freezing temperatures inside the temple is a result of the powerful enchantments placed upon the Frost Crystal. As Nyx searches for the artifact, the chilling cold intensifies, making the task more challenging and dangerous. Despite the harsh conditions, Nyx remains determined to obtain the artifact and secure the payment, willing to brave the frigid temperatures and the eerie atmosphere of the temple. Okay, so that's why Nyx is here. Now let's see about what we have to say with our lead. Your target's actions were driven by a deep personal tragedy. What event in their past shattered their world and led them down this path? There was a moment that changed everything for me, Nyx begins, their voice laced with a tinge of sadness. It was a dark day when a devastating accident occurred, and my family's livelihood was shattered. We were once prosperous merchants, but a tragic incident robbed us of everything we had worked so hard to build. Left with nothing but grief and desperation, I found myself drawn into the shadows of the underworld. Nyx's eyes reflect the pain of their past as they continue. In the depths of my despair, I crossed paths with Myrix Venomtail, a charismatic figure who promised me a chance at redemption and the means to rebuild what I had lost. Myrix offered me a dangerous but lucrative opportunity to collect the elusive Frost Crystal for fast credits. The allure of financial stability and the chance to reclaim what was taken from me overwhelmed my judgment. And as that conversation concludes, Nyx attacks Draven. Let's go into battle. As we go into combat here, we are not forced for anything, so I will be doing ranged combat as always, since I have the better option or better chance of winning here. I have +4 attack and +3 defense initially, then we'll drop down to 3 and 2, And our lead here, Nyx, has 2 stars and 1 heart. So let's go ahead and roll for our first round of combat. Again, left is me, right is them. With a 6 and 4, I have the 6 and come out on top with a 10, and Nyx has a 4 with 2, which defeats their first heart. So, we are now have Nyx at 0 defense, and I have 2 defense as I lose my initial +1 from the first round of combat. Let's go in for the second round of combat here to see if I take the win with my Wraith-like abilities. Alright, and we end up with double 4s here, and I do indeed defeat Nyx Venom Spire right off the bat. With 2d6s and both of them being 4, I end up with a 7, and they end up with a 6. I come out on top, and this is a quick battle, folks, as we finish them off. Now, the question is, do we kill them or spare them? Well, if I spare them, I will gain 1 favor, but if I kill them, I gain 1 notoriety. And considering we are at 4 of 6 so far, I think, unfortunately, Draven's going to kill this lead, and because they had attacked, and they can't get attached to what, the target's actions were and what had happened to them. Sadly, we will go ahead and kill this lead to gain ourselves another notoriety here. And that brings us to 5 of 6 notoriety, and we continue on to our next destination. Leaving behind the Mystic Temple and our first lead, who gave us a little bit of information about their connections with Myrix, we move on to another location here on Velos. Once again, we are returning to Zephyr District and searching for anyone who might know the target, or speaking with a local to gain motivation. Honestly, at this point, it doesn't really matter, so I guess we'll speak with a local and then rest. Or let's do a search. I think doing the search would be much faster. Okay, time to roll to see about our search results here. Nobody's seen your target, but your presence is noted. Gain 1 notoriety. Who lurks in the shadows, observing your investigation? Well, that's kind of helpful. Now we are completely maxed out on notoriety. We now have 6s and everything, and we have to figure out who's lurking in the shadows watching us. As Draven conducts his search in the Zephyr District, unaware of the eyes watching his every move, a figure lurks in the shadows, silently observing his investigation. The figure is tall and cloaked, their presence concealed by the darkness that surrounds them. They are a seasoned tracker, adept at blending into the surroundings and remaining undetected. With trained eyes, the observer carefully studies Draven's interactions and movements, their gaze unwavering and intent. Their motives and allegiance remain unknown, their identity shrouded in mystery. Is this figure an ally, keeping a watchful eye on Draven's progress, or a potential threat, monitoring his every step? As Draven continues his search for Myrix, he may catch glimpses of the lurking figure, a fleeting shadow in the corners of his vision. The observer's presence serves as a constant reminder that there are forces at play beyond his knowledge, and that his quest to apprehend Myrix Venomtail is not without the risks. And once again, we leave the Zephyr District to explore the wilds of Velos once again. Okay, well, now that our notoriety is 6, we indeed encounter another lead. How quickly this snowballs once you hit, 5 or 6 notoriety. Something to remember for the future. We encounter a new lead, so let's go ahead and get our set and settings here. Okay, for the site of our showdown with our second lead, and then for the setting. Okay, now to find out the species for our lead. Ooh, a Samborn, a shapeshifter. Curious. Okay, let's go ahead and find the name for our Samborn. Zephyr. Interesting. So we have Zephyr from Zephyr Station, or District. Alright, so we have Zephyr, the Samborn, and their personality is skittish, nervous, or tense. Well, let's say we will also have someone, we'll say this shapeshifter's nervous. So Zephyr, the Samborn, is a nervous Samborn. Alright, now to find out who this lead is and what they're about. You once teamed up with them for a lucrative job, but they betrayed you. Something about their appearance has changed. Resolve all. 1. How did this person betray you, and how is it related to your scar? 2. Speak with them. 3. They attack you in melee. 3 stars and 2 hearts. Ooh, this is going to be a tough battle here. Alright, let's figure out how this person betrayed us and how it's related to our scar. Zephyr was once a trusted ally of Draven. They embarked on a lucrative job together, seeking valuable artifacts hidden within an ancient temple. However, during the mission, Zephyr's true intentions were revealed. In a moment of treachery, Zephyr turned against Draven, attempting to claim the artifacts for themselves and leaving Draven behind. This betrayal is deeply connected to Draven's scar. Unbeknownst to Draven, the artifacts they sought within the temple held immense mystical power, capable of locking the true potential of Draven's scar. Zephyr, driven by greed and a thirst for power, desired the artifacts for themselves, recognizing their potential to harness the scar's hidden abilities. By betraying Draven and leaving them behind, Zephyr not only robbed Draven of their trust, but also deprived them of the opportunity to unlock the full potential of their scar. The scars of this betrayal run deep within Draven, fueling their determination to track down Zephyr and exact justice for the betrayal they endured. Okay, next we speak with Zephyr to find out what's going on and why they're working with Myrix. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Your target is not who they appear to be. What is their true identity and why are they hiding it? Well, let's see who Zephyr actually is then. I've been living a lie, and the truth could shatter everything I've built, admits Zephyr, their voice laced with a mixture of guilt and desperation. Beneath their nervous facade and the false identity, Zephyr is not actually a Samborn as they appear to be. In reality, they are a bot, an advanced synthetic being designed to mimic the appearance and behaviors of a Samborn. In reality, they are an android, an advanced synthetic being designed to mimic the appearance and behavior of a Samborn. The reason for their hidden identity is rooted in the complex web of secrets and intrigue that surround Zephyr. They were created with a specific purpose, programmed to infiltrate and gather information on powerful individuals and organizations. By assuming the guise of a Samborn, Zephyr was able to navigate various circles and gain access to hidden knowledge, all while remaining undetected. However, the truth of their artificial nature could jeopardize everything Zephyr has achieved. Exposure could lead to questions about their loyalty, intentions, and potentially even their existence. Zephyr knows that if their true identity is revealed, the fragile alliances and relationships they have cultivated over time could crumble, leaving them vulnerable and isolated. Thus, they continue to conceal their true nature, operating under the guise of Zephyr, the nervous Samborn, always watchful for any signs that their secret may be discovered, and doing whatever it takes to protect their delicate balance they've managed to maintain. And with that, Zephyr attacks. Okay, so we are pretty much even here, except for the first round of combat, where I'll have 4 stars and 3 hearts, and Zephyr here will have 3 stars and 2 hearts. After that, we are an even match. So, let's see what happens here for the first round of combat. We have a 6 and a 2. With that, I end up with a 6 for a total of 10. They end up with a 2 for a total of 5. So that's the first round of combat there, and I am ahead by 1 heart or defense here. So Zephyr is now down to 1 heart, and I am at 2 hearts. Let's go into the second round of combat here, and see where we end up. With double 4s here, this is an even match, unfortunately, and this goes to Zephyr, as we are both evenly matched here. I will take the point of damage, and we will both go down to 1 defense instead of re-rolling for motivation. So let's see here for the third round of combat what happens. With a 6 and a 2, I end up with a 2 and Zephyr ends up with a 6. So this is not a great situation here, where I'll be knocked down to no defenses if I take this hit. I'll have to spend 2 points of motivation just to re-roll both of these dice and hope for better results, as a 2 is not great for me, and a 6 is really horrible for them to have. So unfortunately, I will have to take that, and I will re-roll both dice for the third round of combat here. And we are evenly matched again, which is not great. Let's see here. I will go ahead and take a 3rd point of motivation away and re-roll my die, leaving Zephyr with the 2 here. Okay. Oh, that's even worse. So I'll take that point of hit, and I'm down to no defenses and 3 motivation. Okay, this is a brutal combat here with Zephyr, this advanced android here. We are going into round 4 of combat, and we will see what happens here. And the dice roll with even numbers again. Alright, I will have to use my motivation to roll and try to take the win here. Okay, so that does bring me and Zephyr down to 0 defenses each. It looks like we are really into this intense battle here, and we are evenly matched. The next combat will really take it home. Alright, this is the last round of combat here as we are both down to 0 defenses. Let's see who wins this one. With a split even match here, I will have to go ahead and re-roll motivation here for myself. So I'm going to attempt to roll higher than a 2. Let's see what happens. With a 5 and taking my motivation down drastically, being completely demotivated by the fact that this android here looks like my old friend or my old acquaintance here, Zephyr. I am completely demotivated, almost. But I do end up coming out ahead here and defeating Zephyr finally after an intense shootout. So now I have the option to either spare or kill Zephyr, and considering that they look like my old companion, even though what they've told me, I will spare them. Even though I don't need the favor as I'm maxed out, I think it's a good point here to go ahead and just leave them be. What I really need to do is gain motivation. So let's move on to destination number 8 and find out where we go. Hopefully we can get some motivation back before encountering Myrix in this next potential destination. I did forget to mention where this showdown happened with Zephyr. It turns out that going back here and looking at this information, we were drawn back to the Mystic Temple where we also fought Nyx. There's something about Draven being a Wraith and constantly going back to the same locations multiple times here. Oddly enough, with the rolls, it was the same exact thing of the Mystic Temple and the temperature either becoming dangerously high or freezing. So once again, we went back to this temple with the Frost Crystal, where we killed the first lead, and now I guess we've left Zephyr to collect this Frost Crystal since we allowed them to, since we spared them. Really strange. Completely forgot about that when I was going through everything. Alright, moving on to destination number 8. And we end up going to... You arrive in a small outpost or enclave run by the minor faction. Choose one. Alright, first of all, let's see where this one is again. A small outpost or enclave. This might be the... I think if we look back, this is probably the Nexus Plaza again. Okay, so considering we need the motivation again, we're going to go ahead and speak with a local who works here and then rest to gain 1 motivation. Alright, so first off, our local is going to be an Onsiet, so the many-eyed. And we don't really need a name for the local. That's not anything we were directed to in the rules. So we'll just go ahead and go for a speak here. Now, we obviously need to roll 2d6 here. Again, I'm getting +3. The local has no bonuses. And let's see here. Regardless of who this goes to, I take the win by 1 barely. So I end up with a 7. The local has a 6. And we do end up speaking with this Onsiet, the many-eyed. Let's see what they have to say. And our local has to say... They had a past encounter with a prominent faction leader. What history do they share, and how have they both changed? Okay, let's see what happens. I met one of them a long time ago. They were different then, the Onsiet local reminisces, a nostalgic glint in their eyes. They begin to recount their encounter with a prominent leader of the old empire. In the past, this leader held a position of power and authority, exuding an air of unyielding dominance and unwavering loyalty to the Empire's cause. However, time has a way of changing even the most steadfast of individuals. The local reveals that circumstances have altered the once mighty leader, leading to a noticeable transformation in their demeanor and beliefs. The burdens of leadership, the weight of their decisions, and the ever-present conflict have left their mark, chipping away at their unwavering loyalty and giving rise to doubts and uncertainties. The encounter with the Onsiet local serves as a poignant reminder to Draven of the fluid nature of allegiances and the potential for change even in the most staunch supporters of a cause. It prompts Draven to question the motivations and intentions of those in positions of power, as well as the true nature of the conflict between the factions. This revelation fuels Draven's resolve to uncover the deeper truths that lie beneath the surface, determined to navigate the intricate web of loyalties and alliances to achieve their mission. And with that, After speaking with the Anciette, we gain ourselves one motivation, and we continue on to our next exploration. Alright, leaving Nexus Plaza behind, it's time to see where our fate brings us for Draven. And sure enough, we find a lead who turns out to be the target Myrix Venomtail themselves, so let us go ahead and find out what our site and setting is for this encounter. For our site, we have the following, and for our setting, we have this as well. So, our site is, you discover them holed up in a hidden cave network, deep within a treacherous mountain range. One of you has enraged a large herd of native beasts, causing a stampede that rushes towards you. So, this kind of happened the last time with Oran Dusk as well. Very similar items here, so more than likely what happens is that maybe we spot Myrix at the mountain range here, and then they go to attack, which spooks a herd of native beasts and forces us into this network of caves here, where we have our final duel. And now that we already have our target established as Myrix Venomtail, we now get to see who they truly are. Once a respected leader of the minor faction, the Trade Alliance, this target has been marked for elimination by their former allies due to a shift in their beliefs. Discover what caused their fall from grace and confront them. Resolve all. What ideologies or actions led to their betrayal of the rebellion, and how have they justified their new path? 2. Speak with them. 3. They attack you with a combination of tactical brilliance and ruthless tactics. 3 stars, 1 heart. Gains +1 stars for each defeated ally. Okay, luckily we don't have any allies to worry about, so we have the slight advantage here, especially on the first round of combat. Alright, let's go ahead and figure out the part 1 here, then we will speak with them. Myrix, once a respected leader of the Trade Alliance, now finds themselves marked for elimination by their former allies. The betrayal of the rebellion stems from a profound shift in Myrix's ideologies and actions. No longer content with the path of resistance, Myrix has chosen a different course, one that goes against the established beliefs and objectives of the rebellion. The ideologies that have led to Myrix's betrayal revolve around a pragmatic and calculated approach to the ongoing conflict. They have come to believe that the rebellion's methods, while noble in their intentions, have become ineffective and only perpetuate a cycle of violence and suffering. Myrix sees a different path, one that seeks to bring about change through negotiation, diplomacy, and strategic alliances. To justify their new path, Myrix points to the futility of endless bloodshed and the need to prioritize the well-being of the people they once fought for. They argue that the rebellion's rigid adherence to principles has hindered progress, and that a more flexible and pragmatic approach is necessary to secure a better future. Myrix's betrayal, from their perspective, is a necessary sacrifice for the greater good, even if it means becoming a target of their former allies. As Draven confronts Myrix, they find themselves facing not only a formidable adversary, but also a complex individual who challenges their own beliefs and notions of loyalty. The encounter raises questions about the nature of rebellion, the costs of change, and the potential consequences of deviating from established paths. It forces Draven to navigate the delicate balance between their allegiance to the guild's codes and the pursuit of a deeper understanding of the conflict they find themselves entangled in. Alright, now that we understand what is going on with Myrix Venomtail, we get to speak with them to see what they really have to say. Your client lied to you about your target's actions. What part of your client's accusations are a complete lie or wild exaggeration? Apparently the Trade Alliance has lied to us about this, and we need to find out what Myrix has to say about it. You need to know there's 2 sides to the story, Myrix begins, a tinge of frustration in their voice. The Trade Alliance has painted me as a traitor, accusing me of heinous acts and painting an exaggerated picture of my supposed crimes, but let me set the record straight. Myrix takes a moment to gather their thoughts before continuing. The Trade Alliance claims I leaked plans of a blockade to the new uprising, aiding the ruling monarch's escape. They present it as an act of betrayal, a calculated move to undermine the rebellion, but the truth is far from their distorted narrative. Yes, I did share information, but it was not for personal gain or to harm our cause. It was a desperate act to prevent a catastrophic loss of innocent lives. The gravity of Myrix's words hangs in the air. The ruling monarch, as misguided as they may be, had valuable knowledge that could help end the senseless bloodshed. By enabling their escape, I sought to preserve the possibility of negotiation and peaceful resolution. It was a risk, a difficult decision, but one rooted in a genuine belief in finding an alternative to the endless cycle of violence. Myrix's voice carries a hint of sadness. The Trade Alliance's wild exaggerations of my actions serve their own agenda, to solidify their power and manipulate public perception. They conveniently ignored the nuanced circumstances, painting me as a traitor when, in reality, I made a difficult choice driven by compassion and a commitment to seek a better future. As Draven listens to Myrix's account, they are faced with a challenging dilemma. The truth is not always black and white, and the realization that their client might have deceived them raises doubts about the motives and integrity of those they have aligned themselves with. It becomes evident in the midst of a complex conflict. Discerning the truth requires careful consideration and a willingness to question the narratives presented by those in power. And with that complete, Myrix attacks, and we go into battle. Again, at the moment, Myrix has 3 stars and 1 heart, and does not gain any stars for defeated allies, as I have no allies. I have a 4 and 3 initially, and will fall down to 3 and 2 after the first round of combat. So, let us begin with round 1 of combat. With double ones here, I end up taking the first round of combat and dropping Myrix from 1 heart to 0 heart, leaving her with only 1 attack left to be defeated. Let's go into round 2 of combat here, and hopefully I can hold on to my motivation. A 6 and a 1, let's see who gets this. Oh, I end up with the 1, and Myrix ends up with the 6. So I would have to end up taking and rolling twice for this. So I'm going to go ahead and take the defeat here for this round 2 of combat, and this will drop me down to 1 defense. So let's go into round 3 of combat here. And with that we have double 5s, which means I am tied here for 3 and 3 each, so this puts us to 8 and 8. The tie goes to Myrix here, and I'm going to go ahead and take the hit on this as well, trying to hold on to any motivation I have. So let's go ahead and roll. This is for all the marbles here. A 4 and a 3. Who wins this one? Oh, I do. This means I end up with a 7 and Myrix ends up with a 6, and we are successful in defeating Myrix Venomtail. Let's see how we go from here. And with the successful defeat of Myrix Venomtail, Draven has decided to capture her and bring her into the guild to allow the guild and the Trade Alliance to deal with her. From there, it is beyond our need. Capturing Myrix will give us +2 favor, but unfortunately we have been maxed out on favor for quite some time, which will give me some insight into how to play this game further with more to Draven's story after this. So why don't we go ahead and finish the epilogue here. To determine the epilogue and finish our game, we multiply our motivation by 2 and then add our favor. So at the moment we only have 2 motivation, so we multiply that by 2, giving us 4. Then we add in our favor, which is 6. So we end up getting a total of 10, which gives us the second to last option here. Your work has greatly pleased the faction that hired you, the Trade Alliance. They ask to meet with you again, offering a retainer contract and a much larger assignment to take out their new target. Why were they especially pleased with your work? If you continue your story with the same nomad, start your next game with 1 notoriety, 2 favor, and 1 motivation. Interesting. So we seemingly lose a bit of motivation, but we have the 1 notoriety, which we will continue Draven's story next time. So, let's answer this question. Why were they especially pleased with our work? The Trade Alliance is especially pleased with Draven's work because by successfully capturing Myrix, Draven has not only eliminated a high-profile target, but also exposed the alleged betrayal within their ranks. Draven's actions have validated the Trade Alliance's claims against Myrix and restored their credibility in the eyes of their allies. By apprehending Myrix and bringing her in for trial, Draven has shown their loyalty to the Trade Alliance and demonstrated their commitment to upholding justice and the enforcement of the law. The Trade Alliance recognizes Draven as a skilled and reliable bounty hunter, capable of carrying out critical missions with precision and professionalism. Draven's success in capturing Myrix has proven their effectiveness, earning the trust and respect of the Trade Alliance. This newfound trust is reflected in their offer of a retainer contract, which signifies the Trade Alliance's desire to establish a long-term working relationship with Draven. Moreover, by presenting Draven with a larger assignment to take out their new target, the Trade Alliance demonstrates their confidence in Draven's abilities and their belief that Draven can be a valuable asset in their ongoing efforts. This assignment not only offers Draven a significant opportunity for financial gain, but also provides a chance to further solidify their standing with the Trade Alliance and potentially gain access to even more lucrative contracts in the future. In accepting the retainer contract and the larger assignment, Draven becomes more deeply entwined with the Trade Alliance, forging a stronger connection and potentially gaining access to privileged information and resources that can aid them in the future endeavors. However, Draven must carefully consider the implications of aligning themselves closely with a single faction and ensure that they maintain their autonomy and adherence to the Guild's code throughout their missions. And this has been the first story of Draven Stormstrike, our Gaul Wraith Nomad. We will continue Draven's story next week as they work further with the Trade Alliance and maybe moving to another planet. There will be a few extra details to work out. Maybe we won't have random planets, but we'll have to find somewhere that one of the planets has the Trade Alliance with and a new target for Draven to hunt down. So, until next time, bounty hunters, remember, no disintegration rays, and maybe it's best to bring in your bounties alive.